back to our ways, Luke. Back to the grind, if you like.
Back to our roots.
Yeah.
On our own, on our ones again.
Yeah, obviously off the back of having Todd on with 24/7, so that was a nice little insight, wasn't it?
That was decent. I'm sure people will have listened to it by now, I think.
Yeah,
What's this crack then about prisons? Sorry, we were just having a bit of a conversation off camera, and I just said, we'll turn the camera on, we'll talk about it on camera, but Finn wants to talk about prisons
prison.
apparently, which is quite ironic to do with, especially with the day of the court hearing of the Stockport killer.
Yeah. I'd written it down probably about 4 months ago before we'd even started.
Right.
And it was just the idea of people coming in to prison, obviously been sent to prison,
Mm.
and then been released early was one of the first things that was obviously relevant at the time. I think when Starmer was elected, it was like that was one of the things. There was too much pressure on the prisons. And I didn't want it to be a deep one necessarily. I just remember putting it down and thinking, it's horrendous how you can literally be sent to prison for like ridiculous things, like you didn't pay your parking ticket and this and this, right? And I know that's one extreme, but then the other, like, you can get away with not get away with murder, but
What's your point in all this waffle?
I remember putting it down and just thinking, how horrendous is it that we live in a world where people who nick a packet of sweets from the shop sometimes prosecuted more harshly than repeat offenders of worse crimes.
I suppose, right, I'm completely flipping this conversation on its head because you're just waffling. What I'm going to say is, what do you think the death penalty should be reinstated? This is like a sociology question, but do you think the death penalty for some crime should be reinstated?
I don't. Full stop.
Right.
However, I can never ever say I wouldn't want it to be reinstated until I was in the position where it affected my life. The question is, do you want the death penalty to come back, right? Oh, no, I don't think it's fair. Right, okay. Well, somebody's done unimaginable things to somebody that you love. Well, then it's a whole different ballgame, do you know what I mean?
I suppose, but I think some crimes are completely... The thing is, I think the death penalty should be there as an option. However, then that obviously comes to the judge and the jury. However, I believe let's just use, obviously, the hearing of the Stockport killer. Yeah. I'm not going to even try and pronounce his English name. A Welsh name, as it was claimed in the media. Basically, I think for them kind of crimes, I'm not even going to speak about it.
Well, no, there's no
I think
point.
you should be, instead of the death penalty, should just be put in a black room in solitary confinement on your own, no access to the outside world, no light, one meal a day, one drink a day, enough to keep you alive, but enough to be feeling like shit. Dark room, box room. And I reckon even if they think it's funny or they don't care, after a couple of years or 10, 20 years in black cell with no communication with the outside world, no phone call, no visits allowed, I think you are absolutely buggered, because people who do these crimes and then they almost want to be killed.
That's what I'm saying.
They'd be happy because then they've got away with what they've done completely. Yeah. They've went to prison, but they haven't really, because they've been killed 2 weeks. Yeah, exactly. Or they've been just hung. So who cares? Whereas after 15 years, and this lad was 18. Yeah. Instead of 18 years, makes him 36, and he knows he's got another. Let's say he gets to 83, he's got another 60. He's got another 50 years of this left. Yeah, I know. Another 50 years in a black box, and you will never ever speak to him. You don't even know what's happening. We could have flying cars, and he has no idea. Yeah. I think that's worse than the death penalty. That's what they deserve.
I was going to say, and this is took a right turn and I remember, like I said, when I did write it down, it was a bit of a weird kind of thing to write, but it was even like public stoning. Yep, you heard it correctly, right? It's because there's a passion, isn't there? There's a passion in it.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean? I'm saying
I'm a professional public stoner.
Well, no, obviously not.
I can't say that.
That's class. What I meant was you seemed quite passionate about everything you were saying there. But lock them in the room. Obviously, off the back of what's happened today. But it's like that. It's like you can do that, but there's always going to be a case of people who come back out and have changed themselves and things like that. So I think that's where it becomes difficult.
No, I don't. I don't fully believe in
You
being
don't
able
think?
to rehab and get through it, because I think it's almost like it's like getting back with your ex-girlfriend
Mm.
or ex-boyfriend, knowing that they cheated on you, but you're getting back with them because they said they've changed.
Yeah, I get that.
There's always that little
I
doubt.
do get that. Yeah, would you think that once, like, you're not going to change if you?
I think, well, I go by the same, once a cheater, always a cheater, because there was a moment in time where you do it, and I think
Yeah,
if you do it
exactly.
once
Yeah,
and know you've got away with it, no matter how much therapy or whatever you've had, you still know you've done it once, you know it
yeah.
feels, but it won't feel as bad this time because you've got away with it, or you've
Oh, it's the guilt as well. It's whether you can live with the guilt, and obviously
yeah,
coming away from cheating and back to the, if we just go plain and simple, murder.
yeah,
Like if you've killed somebody once, the idea of again, you might, I like that actually. Yeah, I haven't probably thought. You think, well, if you've done it once and you can live
yeah,
with doing that,
yeah.
well, who's to say you can't live with doing it again? Yeah,
But yeah, because I think to go into a murder, I think it it depends obviously on the degree of murder. However, it also depends on if it was planned and it was
yeah,
orchestrated,
premeditated.
then I don't believe it in rehab. Maybe if it's like I don't know if you've seen the stuff on the Lab Bible, there was a one punch man,
Yeah, yeah,
his mates are scrapping, he's come outside,
yeah. I
one of
know.
them went for him, I think,
What was
that's
a
the
lad?
story.
Yeah,
And he's thrown a punch, Lados felt he's thrown one punch.
yeah,
He might not have even like he
yeah,
know
yeah.
how to throw a punch, but he's landed it. Lados fell on the floor, smashed his head, died, and then he gets locked up for it.
That was a
And it's
local, I
like,
don't know.
well, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't want him to die. I just wanted to bloody stop him
Yeah, yeah.
doing what he was doing, and that's fair enough, because then you're like, well, there's a bit of
I
a
think well,
moral argument.
yeah, that's what the judges are there for, isn't it? Because
Yes.
to um yeah, to determine which one it was. But the other thing as well, I remember thinking what we're going back to the death penalty is the amount of people who, when it was in, if you like, I don't know what, when it was
When what was in
legal.
murder?
No,
Oh,
no, the death penalty.
yeah.
It
Which
was
is a
fashionable.
trend. It's a trend.
No, when it was legal and it was an option, there were people who were falsely accused and falsely murdered. Well, not, well, yeah, it would be murdered, falsely killed using the death penalty for crimes that they never committed. So I think that's quite difficult as well.
Yeah, no, but that was a different. That was like a complete different century, mate.
Yeah, no, I'm just
You're
trying to
talking
say.
like people, like if someone cheated
I
on
don't know if
their
it was.
partner, if someone cheated on the husband, there's a story to this.
I
They
don't.
just say they're what do you call it? I can't mind what you call them, but it's basically the phrase for the witch hunt, and they basically just say that they're a witch and like they've said this kind of stuff. No matter whether she's never ever said it in her life, she just gets killed.
You
But
know, that's
that's
what
all because someone had an absolute.
I think there has been more recent. There's been more recent cases of that though. Not necessarily exactly the same thing you're on about, but there's bound to be things where it's meant to be manslaughter. They've been sentenced to death and they're killed. That person's killed, and actually they didn't murder somebody. They only
Yeah, innocent.
accidentally.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
innocent. Yeah, there's that as well. But
I think that'd be difficult. You know, like
yeah,
you
but I
find out in
think
20 years. Remember that guy who was in prison for 45 years or whatever, and then he came back out and they realised he didn't do it and just.
yeah,
I think he
it's
was on
like
the Fellas podcast, wasn't he? But
well, here's also a question as well. People who falsely accuse people of sexual assault and rape, they should get whatever the
yeah, I
person,
agree. Yeah,
if the person they were accusing was actually guilty and they're found not
yeah,
guilty, whoever accused them should get the sentence that
yeah.
the person who they accused of doing it
Yeah, I
was going to
agree.
get.
I do
If
agree
that
with
makes
that as
sense.
well. Because and the other thing as well, this is taking a right turn, but yeah, the other thing with that as well is it means that it's a little bit like Little Boy Who Cried Wolf as well. Do you know what I mean? Because it can become that for every person that accuses somebody falsely or wrongly, there's also somebody who hasn't came out and spoke about it, and actually,
Yeah.
it can become like that as well. I think because I mean, it's ruining it for the people who have been, who have
What do you mean ruining it? It's not like fucking.
what.
He's saying it like, oh yeah, that one dickhead in the stand. He's ruined it for all the other fans that
No,
have came.
bloody hell. No, it's
I
way
know what
more
you
of a
mean. Though. I
serious
know what you're
topic.
getting at.
Yeah, it's way more. Yeah, I just mean if people like I agree with you. Basically, I don't really know where I was going with it, but I agree with you in terms of that people who accuse people
Yes, yes,
should get the
they
same
should
thing
get the sentence, if
because it's
not
ruining
double
everything. Yeah,
what the person who was
yeah,
accused of is
because
gonna get.
yeah, that's also yeah, because it can ruin their lives
And
also.
like
Of
reputation, because no matter what, even if you're found not guilty, there's still people in this world, unfortunately, that will go, "Nah, you did it, mate."
yeah,
And then
exactly.
that's on your
Yeah,
CV. "Oh, hold on, what were you in court for, pal?" "Oh, well, I got accused
yeah,
of
exactly.
sexual assault. I didn't do it."
Yeah,
Well, we
yeah,
don't
yeah.
really want to take that chance of you in our
And
workplace because
also
we have a lot of
famous people as
females and
well,
males.
bloody
That's
famous people. I mean, I could count on I couldn't count on one hand. The more famous people who have obviously, there's bound to be, and I'm not saying for all of them, and it's not a blanket statement, but there've been cases where famous people, especially football players, have been accused and then they're not guilty. They're innocent. It's you threw money at it. You did this. You did that. But for every person that did throw a load of money at it and get away with it, there's also people who didn't do it, and then obviously, do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
I know, and that's just unfortunately, generally is in maybe it sounds a little bit insensitive. It's just the way the cookie crumbles, and that's
Yeah,
completely just the way.
yeah.
And it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. But
If you're your normal Joe Bloggs who just works a 9 to 5 and that sort of thing happens, then
if you've
you
got a
probably
place, you
you
gotta.
gotta
Yeah, I'm definitely not on the whole defund the police bandwagon because that's absolutely
no.
ridiculous. However, I also don't agree with people who've been like, well, no, sorry, I was gonna say, I feel like you've just got to trust the court and the judges and the jury to do the right
Mm.
thing. And
Don't put you in the
there's almost a little bit of accountability as well. Well, no, it's not accountability because you can't. I'm not sorry this thing, but I mean like if you're not guilty of it, you've still kind of put yourself in the situation, but you don't expect the person you would.
Yeah,
I've
I don't know.
completely said the
It
answer
is.
to my
It's
question
hard.
there.
It's hard to talk about, if I'm honest, and especially when it's it's recorded and it's obviously out
No, of
there.
course
So
it is, but
you've got to be careful,
yeah,
haven't
it's
you?
not
Of
like
course.
we're bloody thinging it.
No, but
No, I know what you mean.
we've got to be careful. Of course we do. In it, and for people who
No,
are
on the
listening,
topic
it's
of prisons and stuff, though, I think that's definitely what the sentence should be for that kind of stuff. But I think with public stoning, like you were saying, I do agree with that. To be fair, I think
yeah,
some people should.
yeah. That's what I
People
mean.
who
Like
actually do
rather
sexual
than
assault should get.
yes, absolutely. That's what I'm trying to
I think it
say.
should be like once a week. Once a week, you
Well,
just
that's what, the other thing
stone.
is, yeah. I mean, yeah, it is crazy, and it is more for the I was gonna say for the views and the sounds of it, but more kind of imagine you're like, oh, what are you doing on Saturday? Well, I'm off to the footy and then after I'm off to the public stores, and you'll never guess what the Jim Bob who lived next door to me, but he only went and did you know, you can see the comical side of it as well if there is one. But yeah, personally, not the death penalty for me. Um,
Why?
like I said, because I think there's too many cases of people who have been wrongly accused or taken, like, it's like two wrongs don't make a right equally as well. If somebody's murdered somebody to then take their life, I think I agree with you actually. I think it's more sick for them to have to live with the consequences of.
Yeah, I'd rather mentally
That's
torture
what I'm
them.
saying. Yeah, exactly. Like some of the, and I can tell. Obviously, you said to me that you'd listen to the live cut. You can tell because there's like a passion in it, and that's what I was trying to get at before. Like if there was a family member or somebody, even if they were, we talk about a stockpot there. If there was somebody from, yeah, sometimes small towns or bigger cities in the UK, you feel more obliged because you're like, that could be like my little cousin. That
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
It's like that, and obviously I've got family members who live in America, and when I hear about things, public, school shootings and that, I think straight away I can relate. I can think, my little cousin goes to school in America. Bloody hell, that guy should have this, and then this done to him. But then, for all the situations of that,
Nah, I don't. I'm gonna have to interrupt there because I just think whether you've got an emotional connection or not, the crime is the crime, and that person, like I kind of said before, if it's a one punch job, you didn't mean it, yeah, fair enough. But if you've planned it out, school shootings are planned, mate.
yeah, I
They've
know.
had to go out
That's
and
what I'm
buy
saying.
the gun, and then they've chose to take the gun to school and shoot
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
So they should instantly either be shot or they should be put in.
But would you prefer to just? But sometimes they want that.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm
The
saying though.
more
That's what
people,
I'm saying.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But so like, I'd still have the death penalty there though.
Oh right, okay.
And I reckon, no, it's a bit rogue this, but I was gonna say like even maybe make it this bloody family's decision. But that's
Yeah.
absolutely a rogue decision. That would be
Well, it's
completely
yeah, that'd be
No,
mental.
no, it wouldn't be communist, but it'd be
Maybe
absolutely
it'd be a rogue show.
it's very crazy.
Yeah, that's it's a good job. Luke isn't in charge of the.
Oh yeah, no, but
But yeah,
well,
I think.
well, as crazy as it is, it's like It's like what this is going to sound absolutely mental. I'll get some stick for this, but it's like what Andrew Tate said if he'd be like the mayor of London. No,
Go
hear
on.
me out. And he said about what he'd do to do with like to reduce knife
Mm,
crime. Everyone who was found out to be like in possession of a knife, like big enough skills. If you've got a fucking butter knife, it's not really going to do much harm. It wouldn't do that much harm to a bloody baby. A butter knife. A butter knife. A butter knife would.
why are you carrying a butter knife though?
Oh yeah, obviously. Well, you might have your families and that in your backpack.
Oh, I think.
No,
Go
what
on,
I'm
carry
saying
on.
is, he basically said you get sent to the middle of the desert for
Yeah, I
however
like that.
many
Yeah,
years, have one meal a day, and you are literally like practically just abandoned,
I don't think
solitary,
I. Yeah,
and until you learn your lesson, and then that would absolutely sort because if what's the bloody word? Not the incentive. What's the word?
disincentive.
No, there's a word for choosing religion to talk about like to stop people doing stuff. What's the word?
Oh,
What
I
is the
know the
word?
exact word as
Oh, I'm
well.
googling it. What is the word?
Deterrent.
Deterrent. Deterrent.
Yeah,
It's a deterrent. If the deterrent was that big, deterrent. Yeah, you get locked up. You get it put on
yeah,
your
exactly.
criminal record. However,
Yeah,
if the deterrent is well, if you get even found with this knife
yeah,
deemed illegal, that's
yeah,
it. You shipped off to the desert, and you never seen your family again. You never seen anyone again, and you come back when there you are psychologically deemed fit to be in our country,
yeah.
and that would absolutely stop people
Equally as
running
well,
around
work. I
like
think working.
ravagers.
I think working as well. You see, there's like I can't remember who I was talking to today about community service and things like that. Well, what happens if we are talking about the harsher crimes because naturally you do talk about the more severe things, but like there's plenty of things to be done in this country or other countries. Like you'd ship them off, and you'd have think about the stadiums in Qatar and people who were built
Yeah.
like that. Get folk like that to do that. Do you mean like obviously
Yeah.
you'd have
Yes,
to be
I'm following you.
staffed.
I'm sorry, I follow you now.
Sorry,
Yeah.
it has to be staffed, and obviously you'd have to make sure it's secure. But get them grafting, get them
Yeah.
like digging things up or
Like
mining
16
or
hours
like
labour. Yeah, like
get
proper,
it work,
proper
get some out of
graft.
them, get some out of them. Do you know what I mean? Not
Yeah.
just ship them off into the middle of the desert. Yeah, I get that as well because you're completely alone in your own thought. But equally, get them shipped off to the middle of the desert and say, right, if you don't have this, I don't know, 10 by 10 built
Yeah, like
in
you
this
do
time,
bloody
well, you're doing this, you're
yeah,
doing that.
do 14 hours,
Yeah. And if I see you stop for this, do you know what I mean? I think that
do
would,
14 hours a day, you get like one piss break
yeah,
and you're in however much heat,
yeah.
but you
You
kept
make
enough.
sure you're alive.
Yeah, kept enough so you're alive, you're topped up.
This is
But
sick.
no, absolutely, yeah. But it's just opinions, isn't it? It's not gonna
Yeah.
bloody happen. But
No.
I'm just saying that's one way of dealing with fucking sick people, isn't it? If obviously we're starting to talk of prisons, it still is. It's punishment, isn't it? It's quite an interesting
Yeah.
conversation because
I think.
I think it's a conversation that a lot of people don't really have. Like they avoid it.
Yeah, or equally, and again, it comes back down to the reason, and it often does, to the reason why we started the podcast in the first place. We'd have a crack about, um, controversial things anyway.
Yeah,
So, it's a
yeah,
bit of
but by
controversy
any
in there.
means, we're not like agreeing with it. Like it's
Well, there's
obviously
nothing to
like
do.
the example with you, the stock ball thing. Yes, because I think if you're a bit, if you say he should only get, I think if you don't agree with the fact that he should maybe be bloody death
Something,
penalty or something
yeah,
like that, I think it's like
there's something
this is
wrong
having
with
sympathy, but you don't have sympathy from what I've read today.
it. No,
That is nobody
no,
does
no.
that sympathy. However, we're also not sat here saying, yeah, this should happen, this should happen. We're literally just two lads having an absolute crack, talking shite. You don't
Yeah.
have to agree with us, you have to disagree. Like, we're just here, this is obviously not a tech the piss conversation, but taking the piss, having a
Who knows
crack
the
on
times?
it, controversial, and is what it is. Because what we say on the Cracking Up podcast to however many people is not Bible. And
No.
if you're taking the Cracking Up podcast as Bible, then
Subscribe, like we'll have the cracking up.
we'll get you on the guest.
We'll have the subscribers list as well, please, and we'll get you signed up to a
Get your
subscription.
first
But yeah,
tickets to the meet and greet.
signed, signed microphone and glass. No, yeah, I think. Well, I was gonna say you're absolutely right about I think you said there as well. And you've just gotta be careful, of course, you have. But
Yeah, that's what I mean.
young
That's
lads are obviously looking for jobs as well and things like that. Obviously,
yeah.
you
No,
gotta be
yeah,
careful.
it's just more of a disclaimer, isn't it? Like I'm just saying that there
Oh yeah,
because all the text is someone and say, "Oh my god, they said this," and it's like,
I
well,
know.
no, well, this is not what we're in
Have
now.
you ever
Just
watched? Sorry, have you ever watched World's Toughest Prisons? on
I
Netflix.
haven't, but I've seen clips of it.
I watched the Buenos Aires one
Yeah.
in Colombia. I watched the Brazil one, and I watched the other one that was like the maximum security prison, maybe Peru. It was a
Right. Okay.
Peruvian prison, maybe. And I'll tell you something. There's some the Brazil one was the only one, obviously not like the others. But that's a bit of an insight, and I do wonder about prisons in the UK because what is it? Where's the closest one to us? Millham,
Durham.
Durham.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh, there's a guy on TikTok and all who interviews people when they come out of prison.
What do you think about that?
Prison stuff. Well, I don't know. Do you know what
Not
else?
being funny, but if I got that old prison and someone there with a camera saying, "Oh, what did you do?
No,
Oh, what did you do, pal?
Yeah,
How long did you
yeah,
serve?" Yeah.
yeah. I
Off,
know.
mate.
I know.
Let me just get home.
Especially, no, the other thing as well is, especially when like there's been a couple where it's like, oh, missed my court date and this, and obviously they've been sent in for I don't know however long. But some of them are like coming out. It's like, yeah, it's been 15 years, pal. And you say, what? 15 years, and the first person you see is like, I suppose as well. It's again, it's a bit of a touchy subject, but I
You
suppose
went in, Man
family
United are
members.
top of the league. You come out, Man United nearly getting
Yeah, I
relegated.
know you'd be fuming. Wouldn't you? I think again that's maybe where I'm a bit wrong, and maybe where I'd written it down, and maybe not informed enough to make a judgment. I think you've got to be careful with that as well. Definitely, I don't know an awful lot. Are there prisons in the UK dead tight and harsh? I really
Yeah,
don't
there
know.
will be. Apart from,
There's got to be some.
well, if I do get locked up for saying something, send me to Wandsworth. If you know, you know.
Oh no, he hasn't. He hasn't done it, has he? Oh no.
That
Oh,
tells you all you need to know about the prison,
we need.
pal.
We need. Yeah, we need like a either side of the title of this video. Do not click if you were anything. It's been a good one, Niels.
Explicit. No,
Yeah,
all of the videos are explicit because languages
because
are
you
bad.
F and Jeff, that's why.
Oh, it's all my fault, isn't it?
I say bloody now and then, and
Yeah,
obviously
because you
that's
girl.
yeah,
No,
whatever.
not wrong with that, by the way.
Absolutely.
Nothing wrong with that. There we go. Cancelled. Cancelled.
Oh
Cracking up. Cancelled already. 25 episodes in.
yeah, smashing it. Yeah, so
No.
with back to the prisons one, the ones in different countries, like I said, the Buenos Aires one, obviously that's a lot to do with the drug culture over there, of course.
Yes.
Equally with Brazil.
Mm.
Watched that one actually, and obviously I've been lucky enough to have went.
Lucky.
Well, I'd
Lucky.
like to say, I'd like to say so,
Yeah.
but I know what you mean. Yeah, it was an experience. I'll put it that way. Yeah, I think if you're caught with anything that there's a certain list, and again I'm not informed enough to say, but it's like drugs, weapons. I think if you're genuinely caught in it's you are sent to prison. And I remember watching it on the guy, and there's like a 14-year-old boy who's obviously doing something similar to like county lines, and they translate it and stuff, and obviously the guy goes around. It's the same guy who's
Dan Botch or?
no, it's the same guy who was on that was on it before, who served 45 years in prison
Yeah.
wrongly. He set it up. Obviously, I don't know. Yeah, but I
Well,
interview him,
yeah.
and it was actually quite interesting. Just worth a watch.
Might have to give it a free
And they've
plug.
got all the facts and that rather than this podcast.
Talking shite.
They've got all the facts and figures rather than saying, oh, I don't know that actually. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a good crack, actually. It's been a bit of an interesting one. Been a bit of a mix. Funny
Yeah,
and a
it's
bit
been a bit.
serious. But please, disclaimer,
Yeah.
do not take anything we say seriously in the Bible. Obviously, you'll know when we're talking serious and when we're not. But I thought I'd just make a second disclaimer before we get
Yeah.
scrutinised and plastered over the walls. But yeah, it's been a good one. So we'll catch you next one. Cheers, guys.
So.